So, what would we do if we started our six-figure online business over again to get back to where we are without having to go through the pain and the struggle of the 12 years that it took to get here? That's what we're going to be talking about here today. So, we're in the part of the process of putting together a brand new program. It's called the Success Pod Business Starter. We're going to talk to you a little bit about that at the end. But we've been having a lot of conversation with people around some of the things that they really wish they had known before they started their business. And we want to be able to bring that stuff to you. And so we put together a training today because we really want you to get ahead of a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about. Because you can either go through the pain yourself or have somebody else go through the pain and give you the shortcuts so that you don't have to travel down that road. Now, here's the thing, talking to a lot of people who were struggling like we were in the beginning with getting started. I find that a lot of people, and from these conversations, people start off doing the fancy work first. They start putting together the graphics, the name of their business, their website, what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to be selling, and all of these things, which are great once you have your foundation built. Because if you don't first get the second or get the first floor built, you can't start putting the fancy furniture on the second floor. It's going to get messed up the first time that it rains, right? You've got to make sure that you build up that foundation and have everything set in place before you take those steps. And today we really want to dive into this because not only do we want you to not waste time and waste energy and really waste money, but we want you to build the business of your dreams because we know that you're here to help people in the world that really, truly need your help. But we've got to get out of our own ways sometimes, and we've got to have some processes to put in place to make sure that we're spending our time and energy wisely. So if you're somebody who's just getting started in business, maybe you just have an idea of what you want to get started with, but you have no idea how to implement it, or you've been in business and you feel like you have been stuck and you feel like, man, I don't know what it is. Well, today's training is going to be for you because we're going to help you get unstuck by sharing the 6 things that we absolutely need to know or needed to know in order to grow a multiple six-figure online business so that you can grow that too. If you're ready to do that with us, let's go.
It's time to redefine leadership. Welcome to Modern Leadership, where we see things differently. Our channel is all about empowering entrepreneurs like you to achieve the next level of success in business and life. We believe that you can create a massive impact in the world without compromising your personal life or family time to do so.
We're committed to providing you with actionable tips and strategies weekly to make that possible. So if you're ready to become a modern leader and make a lasting difference in the world, consider subscribing. Turn on notifications and dive into our community. We want to thank you for being here because the world needs your leadership now more than ever. Let's go.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's dive right in. Now, so for those of you guys who don't know who we are, I'm Mark and Teresa. We are online coaches / entrepreneurs / parents / all these million other things that we do. And we personally were stuck at that $40,000 range for a long time in our business. And what we realized is in order for us to leave our full-time jobs, Teresa from corporate, me from LAPD, we needed to be able to find a solution to be able to speed up the process of growth. And what we found are these 6 things that we want to share with you today that if we were to start over again, we would actually do differently so we could actually grow exponentially faster. Now, since implementing these things, we've rose to multiple 6 figures. We've been able to both retire from our career. And now we get the beautiful job of being here, being able to deliver for you guys while our puppy's over there making a ton of noise because that's what he does best. But really being able to share these things is so important to us that we wanted to put together a special training for you guys. And we also have a special program that we're going to talk to you about at the end if this really resonates with you. Now, I do want to start off with business just in general, because here's the thing. Like so many people jump into business, they're super excited, right? And they don't take the time to slow down and realize that starting a business takes work. It takes energy. It takes money. It takes time. And it takes your focus in order to make it happen. And the reason why is because business is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And we wouldn't have an opportunity to separate ourselves from everybody else who tries something for a couple months. Instead, we have to get really good at leaning into what it takes to become an entrepreneur. We're going to dive into that today. But some of the things that I personally have seen as to why business is so hard, as well as all the thousands of people that we work with and have conversations with, there's a few things that really resonate with me that I want to make sure that you're going to be up against, because when you understand that you're up against it, it gives you the power to get through it if you choose to. And I don't think you would be here and still be watching this if you didn't choose to. So let's talk about this real quick, right? So here's how business is so hard. We have an idea. We have a thought. We have a thing that we know that we personally have been through sometimes. And now we want to be able to help other people through it too. So we are so excited, but we don't know what to do with that excitement. We're like, well, should we start talking about social media? Should we get an LLC for our business? Should we talk to an accountant? Like, how do we get this program in place? How do we get a product? What should I sell? What are people going to want? And what happens is we get into this piece where we're not actually taking action. We're just consuming everything on the planet and we're not doing anything with it, right? And one of the things that I like to say a lot, because I learned it through hard, painful situations that I've been through, is you don't get better by consuming, you get better by acting, because you cannot improve in action, right? But when we first get started and we're like, okay, we're going to do something, and we convince ourselves to take action, then we just start doing the exciting things. We start doing the things that, like, oh, this is what must be what business is all about. This is designing the graphics. This is thinking about your website. This is like going to GoDaddy and doing some searching and figuring out what that thing is going to be. It's thinking about like landing pages, and it thinks about like, oh, let me connect my bank account to this Stripe account and PayPal and all these great things. And some of those things are important. I'm not going to say that. But a lot of times we put the cart in front of the horse, meaning we have nothing to sell. We have nothing to do, but we're building all of these systems and everything in place before we actually know what we're going to like not only lean into, but based off of our strengths, based off of the things that we love to do, and based off of the things that we're capable of doing. We don't even think about that first. We jump into the kind of like fancy level stuff, the higher level stuff, when really we need to be starting out at the base level. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people who get past this stage and they're like, you know what? Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to build my program. I'm going to put together this product. I'm going to sell somebody else's product. And they spend all of this time doing that, putting it all together. They have this beautiful back end. They have this Mighty Networks or Kajabi, like everything's beautiful, and they have zero people to sell to. And because they did it backwards, and you're going to hear this in one of mine, is like how we do things backwards. We think we've got to create a program or product, and then we just release it to the world and everybody comes knocking down our doors. That is not how it works. It's actually, there's an opposite theory that I really lean into that's helped me grow our business a lot, by not just actually starting with me putting together the program, but instead me making a decision on who I'm going to help, the problems I'm going to help people solve, and starting from there and working backwards. But here's the thing. All of these things are things that we naturally go through in business, especially if you're doing this by yourself. And every single time that we get into one of these potential barriers, we have a decision to make. The decision is, do I keep going? Do I make this not be about me? Do I make this mean that I just have something to learn and grow? Or do we make this mean that I just can't be successful in business? I must not be good at this. I must not be able to help anyone. You get the opportunity every step of the way to make a decision if you're going to lean into this, go all in and learn the lesson, or you're going to just shut down and not take those steps. So here's the thing. I would really highly encourage you to actually have a plan and really connect with somebody who can help you. But regardless, I think the thing that I really want to make sure everybody gets from this is understanding that it's time to lean in when things get uncomfortable. When you do some of these things, which by the way, all of these things we personally have done, it's an opportunity for you to lean in, for you to learn the lesson, and for you to teach it to someone else so that they never have to go through it again. And that's why we're here, because we want to be able to bring some awareness to this piece. Whether or not you make a decision at the end about the program that we're going to be talking to you guys about, I just really want you to know there's a lot of power in coming up against these obstacles and getting through them, getting to the other side, because now you can help so many other people get through it too. Now, the reason why I started off with this is not because I want everybody to peace out on business. It's because I don't want people who are not going to be willing to take action, to make adjustments along the way, to not take this personal. I don't want you to waste any time if you're not going to be able to do that by being here. I mean, definitely, it's not something that our program is for people who are just testing things out. You have to be willing to lean in. You have to be willing to like put in the action and the energy and not take it personal, which is something that we're going to be talking a lot about today, because that is how true businesses are built. They're built on you learning the lesson, you trying a bunch of things, figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't work, sharing your knowledge with other people, and then making sure that you're surrounding yourself in an environment of other people who are doing the same thing. That is what will make you successful in business. Now, we want to give you some tactics and some strategies along with that. But that mindset piece that I just shared with you is the most important thing of all. You're going to get knocked down. It depends on whether you're willing to get up and how many times you're willing to get up, and stop asking yourself, how long is it going to take? And start figuring out like how much more you're going to be able to succeed, how much more you're going to be able to create. Because the more that you lean in and actually find the solutions that we're talking about here, the more that you're going to make an impact in the world. And then know what's going to happen? 6 years are going to go by. And then somebody's going to be like, oh, you must have gotten lucky. And anytime that I hear that from people who are like, oh, you must have gotten lucky for you and Teresa to retire, I'm like, you are out of your mind if you think this has to do with luck. Like, this is all about learning, struggling, paying money to learn things, having mentors, and all the things that we're going to be talking about here today. All right. So people will think that you got lucky, but I guarantee you inside, you're going to be like, there was no luck as a part of this process. All right. Luck is just you taking a lot of action and being present when that thing and that opportunity presents itself. That's really what I think luck is, as opposed to not taking action and just like, not stepping into your true potential, not only as a business owner, but the impact that you're going to make in the world. Now, here's the thing. I want to start getting into these 3, or actually 6 things that we wish we had known before we got started. But I wanted to set you up that way because I want to make sure that you're all in with this. You're not just going to test this out. You're going to lean into this and create the business of your dreams, because you and your family, and honestly, the world, deserve it. Because this isn't just about you. It's about the people that you can impact. And you have to be willing to fight that fight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Teresa. We're going to kind of go back and forth. We've come up with 6 important things that we wish we had known that would have sped up the process and the growth of our success of our business. Some of them I kind of hinted around right now. We're going to go into a little bit deeper because I want you to have these 6 things. I want you to take notes, and anything that resonates with you, we want to see it in the chat. We want you to comment. If you've gone past that in your business, I want you to share how getting past these things has really helped you tremendously. All right. Ready to get into number 1?
Let's go.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So number 1 is that posting on social media doesn't mean that I have a business.
Ouch.
Yeah. And this is a really hard one to kind of grasp, because we see so many people on social media and we think that if we just start posting that people are going to come to us. First of all, not a lot of people see our stuff, and that's for everybody. There are people that can kind of train the algorithm and things like that so that more people can get more reach. However, for most people, whatever you post on social media, a very, very small percentage see that. But also, that social media is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. It's just a strategy to be able to, share your business, but it's a very, very small piece. So putting so much effort into social media, especially at the beginning, is a big mistake. And I wish I knew when we first started that I didn't have to put so much effort into it. Now, if I look at my social media account, I'm like, it's been years that I've been posting in thousands and thousands of posts. But that's not where the money has come in for us. Social media has not brought us the revenue that we have now. It's been a small piece and an important piece, but it wasn't the thing that I needed to focus on at the very beginning.
Yeah, I love that. I love it because I originally thought that when I had a social media account and I started posting stuff about my business, I might have a business. Mm-hmm. Only, like you said, like nobody would actually respond to it. And even on social media, like I had to go out and find my person, right? Mm-hmm. Because not everybody on social media is your person, right? But there's some things that we have to do to reverse engineer it to make social media worth it when you do post it. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later. So for me, the first one is making sure that my goals and my strengths are in alignment with my business. Here's the thing. When I think about like leaving LAPD, one of the things that I didn't realize is that I don't want to like leave a job so that I can work a business that I hate just as much as my job. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that it's number one, in alignment with my goals, meaning that I actually want to achieve and make it so that I can have a significant income that allows me to retire from work and actually want to do that. Now, being able to reverse engineer this, which is what we do as life and performance coaches, had me realize that absolutely I do want to be at home. I kind of want to be like a stay-at-home dad where I get to take the kids to school. I get to spend time with Teresa. After this, we're going to go on a walk and just do like things that I typically couldn't do being an LAPD sergeant, having to work 12-hour days, having to be on call for a ton of different things, right? But I had to reverse engineer what those goals would look like, and really, like, does the business actually fit into what those goals are?
Mhm.
So if I was, let's say, selling, let's say somebody else's product, right? And I was getting about $10 or $20 for every sale that I was making. I'd have to look at the numbers and say, okay, if we want to have and make $250,000 a year, because we live in California, so that's what we have to make in order for us to make ends meet. If we want to make $250,000 a year, how many sales would I have to make for a $10 item? And those numbers really at the time didn't really work out for us. I was like, oh, it would have to be 100,000 items. And it's like, that's not going to happen, right? And so, really thinking about reverse engineering the business that you're going to be in, you have to work the numbers out now, not after you start the business and you start having conversations, you start selling things. Because if the numbers don't work out, we shouldn't be spending time and energy into it. Second part of this is my strengths. So, when it comes to me with my strengths is not social media. Strengths is not marketing. Strengths is, for me, video. Strength is my energy. Strength is my coaching ability. Strength is me and my intuition. And so whatever I was going to do, I had to ask myself, is this based off of my strength zone? Now, for me, coaching was in my strength zone. I wouldn't say health and fitness was my strength zone, even though that's where I started. But when I leaned into it, I was like, health and fitness, first off, like, I'm going to have 100,000 clients, right? And I don't want to have that many. I'm going to have to talk about health and fitness all the time. I don't want to talk about health and fitness all the time, right? And also, it's not my strength. Like, me teaching exercises classes or writing meal plans, like, even though I have that certification, that is not fun to me. It's not like I can't wait to come home so I can write people meal plans. Now, if you're like, I love meal plans, then I'm like, let's do it, right? But you have to have this conversation about, is the business that you're going to start is in alignment with your goals, really also with your core values, but also based off your strengths. If I had known that, I would have not wasted like 4 or 5 years. Now, here's the thing. I said wasted. I want to go back on that. I don't mean wasted. Like, I would have sped up the process so it didn't take me 5 years to learn that lesson. Because here's the thing. When I know Ubang talked about like getting people to take action, the one thing that I am the best at is taking action. I mean, I wrote a book called Mastering Your Life Through Self-Coaching, the tactical guide to get you to show up and become a leader of leaders, right? So that you can take those actions. I'm the person who, when somebody's like, hey, take action a year from now, I'll take action for 5 years. Like, that's not a problem of mine. When people say like, I don't have enough money to be able to do things, I will find a way to make it happen. Like, I'm the action taker. I'm not focused on what's broken, wrong, or missing, or what I don't have. I'm focused on, okay, but what else can I do? I mean, I borrowed money from my mom. I borrowed money from my brother. I did so many things that made it so that it was possible to get to where I am because I wasn't stuck on not taking action, right? But that's my strength. That's something that I actually want to lean into, is like leaning into my strength and being able to pull that with me into every endeavor that I possibly could take, right? So when I think about business, when I think about overcoming obstacles and resiliency, those are really important things for you to be able to have and tap into, especially if you're like wanting to grow a business, because you have to be willing to do those things, right? So that's why I want to make sure that when you do start a business, that when you do make that decision, that you actually think about, is it related to my goals? Is it possible for me to actually hit my goals based off of this? And is it something that is in my strength zone that I love to do? If so, then we're going to keep moving. But if not, we need to examine it now, not down the road when you have thousands of customers and you're thinking about making a pivot now, right? We can think about some of these things in advance. All right.
I love that.
Number 3 for you.
So number 3, what I wish I knew was adopting an entrepreneur mindset was a must.
Oof.
Like Mark said, that's the most important thing. Like, this wasn't, hey, I'm going to dip my toe in, or hey, I'm just going to try this out, or oh, this is kind of like a hobby right now, I'm going to treat it like a hobby. I had to really adopt a mindset of, I'm going to do this. Like, this is what I am committed to doing, right? I didn't know all the steps. I didn't know how long it was going to take, but I knew that if I had that energy going into it, that it would have happened a lot faster. So our success would have happened a lot faster. Now, of course, we have a little bit of a different dynamic here because it was, the both of us working on the business. But, even if you're by yourself, like, we'll talk a little bit later about some of the other strategies you can use when it's just you and like trying to create a business. But I knew in my mind that if I had known to really apply like this mindset of like a go-getter and like, hey, if I know what I want and I know that what I'm going to be doing is going to be enjoyable and it's going to make a difference, I really need to take it seriously, because there's so many people who will just jump into something. They get really excited, they get really motivated, and they're just like, oh, they're just going to go in like kind of like
And try it kind of
yeah,
mentality.
like, yeah, that kind of attitude. And I got to say, like, in the beginning, you may not know if this is going to work out. Like, nobody knows going into something like this if it's going to work out. However, if you have belief in yourself, and that's something that you can work on as well, right? Because that's also part of the mindset shift that you have to have. If you know that you have like the ability or the potential to make this happen, like, you have to apply that attitude and that energy into it, because you will find that it will go a lot faster if you do that, rather than just like going in and then coming out and then like basically failing and then feeling like a failure when it's just an experiment. We're all going to fail. It doesn't matter how many tactics, how many strategies we give you. That's part of the process. Failure is part of the process in order to get to success. So knowing that and going into that, you can learn the lessons from that and move forward a lot faster.
Yes. Yeah. This entrepreneur mindset one, I think we could spend the whole video on this because of how important it is. And what I have to say is, like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have an entrepreneur mindset. I was a police sergeant from LAPD. Like, what I could sell people into was handcuffs, and that was pretty much it. Like, I'd never been in retail my entire life. Teresa was working in corporate, right? And it's like these things, these ideas of being an entrepreneur were not with us in the beginning. So we started out in a multi-level marketing business, all right? That's when entrepreneurship started to rub off on us. And we're like, hey, we would love to be able to achieve this stuff, to not have to work all the time, but being able to have a steady income where we could actually, that was uncapped. And there was no cap to how much money we could make, right? But when we realized that we had to have an entrepreneur mindset, which was, we're testing it out, we're going to figure it out. It's just a matter of, it has nothing to do with me and my worth. It has everything to do with, is this the right thing to bring people, or is this not the right thing to bring people? Like, to be honest with you guys today, like, even the program that we put together today, we don't know like if this is the thing that everybody's going to want or not, but we're willing to try a million things because we know what we have people really need, because we wish we had it when we first started, right? But having that entrepreneur mindset is like, I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to like be more creative and not be focused on what I don't have, not be focused on how everybody else had it easier, not be focused on lack of time, money, resources, but be focused on what can I do to make this happen without, like we always say on this channel, without burning yourself out or sacrificing your family time. There is 100% a way if you're willing to lean in and learn that, but you have to have that entrepreneur mindset. Now, number 4 for us is very much related to this entrepreneur mindset, and that is, I wish that we had gotten into the right environment sooner. Working corporate, working LAPD, there was not a lot of people with an entrepreneur mindset that we'd have conversations with. Most of them were like, what? You've been working here for 20 years. Like, most people work for 33 years at LAPD and then they retire and they get to live a comfortable life. And they're like, you've literally gotten more than halfway. And now you're going to leave this. You're going to leave this job. You're going to leave the security and all the things that you have. And you can't even collect a pension for 5 years. Being in that environment pulled me down a lot. And it was because like I was trying to figure out ways of being able to succeed as an entrepreneur while I was fighting the whole internal things that was happening by working at LAPD. And if I had a chance to go back, I would have made sure that I got into an environment where business owners and entrepreneurs, that was the norm, as quickly as possible. Not that I could have removed myself from my police career. I couldn't. At the time, I wasn't making enough money. We were making $40,000 per year in our business. But when we leaned into a group of people more often than when I was hanging out at LAPD, it got me to think differently. It got me to start focusing on what I could create. It got me to focus on abundance. It got me to focus on purpose and potential and what I could really do, rather than the negativity of what's broken, wrong, or missing, which is what's on 99% of like the careers and stuff out there. If you look at social media, like right now, I don't even know what's going on with the election and all that kind of like stuff. And I could care less, because the direct impact that it has on me depends on how much of my time and my energy I put into that level of negativity. But when I'm focused on creating something and I'm around other people who are creating something too, I got to tell you that energy is contagious, and it will help you to break through, to take action, to do all the things that we're talking about, because you're hanging out with people who that's just their norm. I dare you to hang out with people who their norm is to think of problems that people have, think of solutions of it, think of a way to market it and how to sell it, have conversations, rinse and repeat until they find their products and their programs that work. I guarantee you that if you hang out in that environment, guess what will happen to you too? You will be more creative. You will find different ways and different solutions, and you'll be less focusing on what could potentially go wrong, and you'll be focused on what you're creating in this world. Your life will look entirely different. Mine did, of a year of being in that kind of environment, not hiding in the back, not just paying to be in the environment, but being in the environment, jumping up to the front of the room and saying, I need help. This is where I'm going through. This is what I need. I need some ideas, some creativity. It is incredible what you can get, not just from the ideas, but also from the energy from other people who share the same values and goals and want to get after it as much as you do. So if I had to start over, this would probably be the first thing I do, is make sure I get into an environment. I don't just sit in the back of the room. I'm at the front of the class and I'm taking notes. I'm taking action. I'm bringing those actions back to get everybody's advice, because that is the best thing that I could have done back then. And instead, I was just sucked into whatever it is that anybody else was talking about, whatever it was that was going on social media, whatever that was going on at LAPD. At the end, I worked at internal affairs. And let me tell you, like, there's not a lot of positivity that comes out of like the whole internal affairs and investigating people, right? But I was so sucked into that. I wish I would have had an environment that would have pulled me away from it sooner. Thank God we did that. And now we actually create environments like this for people who refuse to just be led in those other environments where that negativity and toxicity come. So that is number 4 from the 6 things that we wish we had known. Let's get on to number 5.
Yeah. So number 5 is what I wish I'd known, is that I can incorporate everything that I've learned and all of the experiences that I had outside of business into my business. So not feeling like I was starting off from square one. And here's what I mean. I worked for, 10, 15 years before we started a business. What we do now has nothing to do with what I used to do. Like, it was a whole different career. It's not even related to what we're doing now. But I learned so much from my work experience. So it doesn't matter what you did in the past. Everything that all the skills that you developed, everything that you learned along the way, the failures and the lessons that you learned from that, if you learned your lessons, all of that can potentially be applied to your business. So, for example, there were, just kind of like what Mark, piggybacking on what Mark said, the thing that would really make me not move forward in my career was my environment. So the people that I was hanging out with, the water cooler people, those people, hanging out with them was not going to advance my career. I had to find another group, another, set of people that, were more positive, that really wanted to, like, develop themselves and learn things. And, if they saw a problem, they wanted to find a solution, not complain about it. So that attitude can be applied in business as well. I mean, we just talked about it and how it can be applied. So everything that you've learned, all of the experiences that you've had, especially in leadership. So if you've had a leadership position in like the corporate world or anything like that, that can most definitely be applied in your business, right? Because most likely, once your business grows, you're going to have a team. You're going to have people that you have to deal with, that you want to connect with, that you want to have great communication with. So don't feel like you're starting off from scratch if you're starting a business. You never are. If you've had experience working or any life experience at all, that can also be applied to business.
Yeah, 100%. So if you've lost weight, you're a parent, you're a spouse, you've, gone over and overcome, autoimmune disease, like whatever that is, those are all things that you get to bring into your business. And any situation that you have been through, any struggle that you've been through, resiliency, being able to overcome obstacles, that literally makes you the person who now can help others do it. So it doesn't really matter where you are. you get to bring everything that you remind yourself that you have with you into business. If you pretend like you are starting over, guess what? You are starting over because you will forget all of that stuff, but you get to bring all of that stuff with you if you choose, and also remind yourself to do that, which actually perfectly leads into number 6. So the 6th thing that I absolutely wish that I'd known earlier is to invest into myself by whether it's hiring a coach, getting a program, having somebody who's a few steps ahead of me that can help push me to like not only learn new things, but to reflect on what's working and change up what's not. Here's what I mean. I early on in business was just taking action, like I was saying. I was doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And I didn't have a way of reflecting on what's working and what's not working. What can I adjust and what can I not adjust? And because I didn't have that, it slowed down my growth exponentially. Because what happened when I actually found a team and I found a mentor is I spent a significant amount of income that some of you guys might be like, you spent that much? And my answer is yes, because I wanted to get through the struggle as fast as I could to actually come out on the other end so we could retire. And being able to lean into that, I really wish that I had done that sooner. I had all of the thoughts. Like literally all I had was, credit card debt. How am I going to be able to afford this? And remember what we talked about, the entrepreneur mindset. The entrepreneur mindset in me was like, oh, I've got to have a certain amount of money saved, or I have to have a certain amount of thing first before I can invest in that. And that kept me stuck for a super long time. But one of the stories that I tell is back when I was needing something different, right? I realized that coaching was like my thing, but I didn't really have the certification or the know-how to like really develop my skills. So I spent $20,000 when I had $0. $20,000, okay? I went through this program. 42 days after I graduated, it was a 6-month program. 42 days after I graduated, I had already made back the $20,000. Since then, I've 10, 20, 50x'd what that is. And it's because I was willing to go, I need some help with this. I need to figure out a way. And what's crazy is Teresa and I were talking about this. Like we're online business owners. If you talk to some of the people, and some of you guys might even be the brick and mortar, people spend $200,000 on inventory, on a building, on all of these things. And for some reason, when I got into like the online space, I wasn't an entrepreneur, so I didn't really know that. Spending $16 a month to me was like, oh my God, like I'm spending $16 a month. And I had to really lean in, and I had to realize that if I wanted to be able to achieve results faster, there are people out there who had the solution. And when I did it, when I paid $20,000, one thing I can guarantee is I was going to get back my money, because I was like, I'm going to do everything humanly possible to lean into this program, which honestly, I probably could have gotten for free on YouTube. But do you know how much energy I would have put into it? Not as much as when you put $20,000 in. And so when I think about this, when I think about what I wish I had started sooner, I would have hired a coach. I would have found a mentor. I would have asked somebody who was a few steps ahead of me so that they can help guide me through that process, so I didn't have to go through all that pain. Because the one thing that's more expensive than paying money like that is your time, because you will never get that time back. So if I could rewind and fast forward it 6 years and only have been in business for 6 years and be where we're at today, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I would write the check, a blank check, to figure out what that would actually cost. Because for me, I want to get through that process as fast as possible and get to the other side so I can be living the life that I truly want to live. And for me, it was that shift of going from the W-2 mindset into the entrepreneur mindset that really was the game changer. And ever since, whenever I want to learn something, whenever I want to grow through something, yes, I'll join group programs and things like that, but I always ask myself, how can I work one-on-one with the person who created this, or very closely with them in a small group, to make sure that I can have the speed of growth that I truly want? And that's honestly why we're here today. It's not because we had any more money. It's not because we had any more smarts. It's not because we had any more anything. It's just we were willing to have those conversations to figure out ways of being able to lean into it and being able to get past these 6 things that would have tremendously sped up the success in our business. So that's what we wanted to share with you guys here today. Now, of course, we're going to be here to take any questions that you guys have related to this. I'd really like to hear like what resonated and what spoke loudest to you, what you needed to hear today. I know we have a couple of people who are here live, and I'm going to see if there's any questions related to it, but we also do want to see we want to share something that we're putting together for people who are part of our Modern Leadership YouTube channel, as well as our app inside of our Inner Circle. because we have been working on a program to be able to take these 6 things so that you can implement them into your life, but also have the structure of what it looks like to put together a program and product. How to talk to humans first before you do that, so you're not wasting your time and your energy putting together something that nobody's going to want to buy, right? We want you to be able to do this beforehand, and we have a process to be able to take you through so that by the time you go to selling it, you actually already have people who are like, when is it going to be ready so I can buy it? And this is all around like thinking about things in advance and setting your business up for success before you start getting into the shiny object stuff, right? Because that's what we're going to be teaching inside of the program. Now, a couple things. Let's see. First off, do you want to go through the chat and see if there's any questions? If you guys have any questions about what we talked about, as well as like any feedback in terms of what connected with you the most, let us know. A lot of people are talking about mindset. Mindset is the first set, 100%. However, when it comes to taking action, that's where the resources will be essential as the empowers ability. Yes, Ubang, one of the things that I found is mindset will get you to take action if you're focused on the stories that make you come to life, that make you feel energized, that remind you of who you're fighting for, what you're actually doing there. When you're thinking about those things and the people that you can serve, the mindset will get you to take action. I mean, that's literally what we do as a life and performance coach is we find the stories that people already have inside of their brain, and we get them to focus their time and attention on those stories, and that will get you to take action. But when we start focused on what we call our head voice, or the things that are broken, wrong, or missing, or what if this happens, or what if this, we're focused on those things, we're going to go out and we're going to create it, and we're not going to take any action. So whenever we're thinking about taking action, I want you to ask yourself, what are the stories that I tell myself that get me to take the most amount of action? And how can I tell myself those stories more often? And also hang out with more people who have stories like that, because they're contagious, right? You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Okay. Now, if you have a few minutes here, guys, what we'd love to do is we'd like to share a little bit about this program to see if it would be a really good fit for you. And we want to let you know that we're only doing this for a very small number of people, but also we want to make sure that there's a group of people who know that this is for you or this is not for you. All right. So we want to talk about that and call it out, because we want to be who's going to be joining this program, because we're very protective of who we allow into the program, because we want to make sure that we protect it. Just like we were talking about earlier, we want to protect the mindset. We want to protect the tactics and protect everything that we do inside of the program to make sure that somebody doesn't get in there who really isn't a good fit, right? Now, some of the things we're going to be teaching inside of the program is we're going to be sharing our blueprint to be able to help you identify not only your business goals, but your personal goals, and make sure that your business is in alignment with both. We don't want your business taking away from your personal life or your family life. Like that's another program. You can go get the 10x, 50x, 1000x your actions kind of program. That's not what this program is about. It's about doing things, doing the right things, setting up systems, and making sure you have things in place so that you don't have to work more. You actually have to work less. But in reality, we also want you to be able to spend time with your family. So we want to make sure your goals related to business are also directly connected to your health and your family. Then we're going to share with you our structure around how we create programs and products that people are going to want, not programs and products that after we get them, like we have, hard trouble selling them. We want you guys to actually get on the front end of this too. We're going to talk to you about how to identify who your audience is and the problems that they're going through, so you can speak their language and so they can connect with you and go, oh my God, like this person is my go-to person. I really want to work with this person. They're going to be able to have that thought in their brain before they even hear about your program and your product. Then we're going to talk about like how to actually launch something so that you don't actually have to wait. We've had a lot of conversations with people who are like, yeah, like one of the things that I would really like, Mark, is if you created this program and by the end of the 4 months that we were able to launch our program. I'm like, that's somebody else's program, because we are not waiting 4 months to launch your program. Like that is way too much. By the second month, we're going to have some information on like how you can actually launch your program so that you're actually jumping into helping people instead of 4 months of waiting. And then in the 5th month, then you're finally talking to people, right? We're going to show you the blueprint that we actually use to actually sell while we're in the process of building it. Of course, we're going to have a supportive growth mindset community. We're going to have live coaching calls with me and Teresa. There's going to be accountability that's going to be a part of this. There's going to be homework. We're going to be meeting. It actually starts on September 30th. We're going to be meeting every Monday, whether you need to watch the recording or be there live. We're going to be able to help coach you through it. It is, in reality, it's a 3-month program. We're actually going to do this beta version of it in 4 months. So you get an additional month of support without having to pay anything extra. So we can actually help coach you through some of the things that will be coming up. Like Ubang was saying, like a lot of times when you jump into something like this and you're struggling with taking action, it's not because you need more actions. It's because you need a coach, somebody to help guide you through that process to get you to see and have clarity so that you can get you to take action. So these are all things that the program is going to have. And I'll put a link in here for anybody who wants to see the details of it. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to share who's it for and who's it's not. .us/successpod. So one of the things that that people have asking us is like, how do I know if this program is for me or not? So a couple things. Number one is I, for some reason, these pages are getting kind of annoying. They seem to, I feel like I feel like I printed the same one out like 17 times. So a couple things is who this program is for and who it is not for. Okay. So who this program is for, it's either business owners who are just getting started. Maybe you have a program or product to sell, but you have no idea what to do, meaning you've never made a sale from it. Or you're like, you have an idea of something that you want to put together, but you don't have an idea of like how to package it, how to make sure it's in alignment with your goals. And that's what we're going to be able to help you do. Is help you figure out the plan for you to take steps to be able to build your business, to have customers, have clients, make sales, do all that stuff. So that is who the program is for. It's also for people who are willing to implement quickly, meaning you're jumping into the program, you're taking action, you're bringing the action back to us, and we're having conversations to figure out like if there's some tweaks that need to be made or not. This is not for people who want to sit in the back of the room and just watch a course and not participate in it. This is not for you. This is an active course where we're going to be teaching you on the fly and asking you questions because everybody's audience is different. Everybody's program and product is going to be slightly different. I don't care if you think you're selling the same thing as everybody else. You're not. You're selling a different thing to every single person because you're a different person, right? And a lot of times it has to do with selling you and your story, which is different than everybody else's story, right? Number three is we're looking for people who are willing to lean in and ask for help when they need it, but also share their wins and lessons along the way. Meaning when you need help, you need to raise your hand. You need to ask for help. You need to join one of our calls. You need to get on a live coaching call so we can help coach you through that, so we can get you back into taking action and give you some clarity, right? We don't want people just to sit in the back of the room. This is not a charity. We don't want people to sign up for this and then not do anything with it, right? So if you're not somebody who's willing to take that kind of action, this program also isn't for you. And number three is we kind of shared, like we want people who are willing to share their wins and lessons along the way. So when you find something that works, we want you to share it. When you're struggling with something and it's a challenge and you're like, I don't know what to do, we want you to come in there and we want you to share it, but we want you to share it with anybody have any ideas on how I could be able to accomplish this? This is not hey, let me go in here and bring my negativity and make it a bee fest where you're just like, being negative. Like, oh, the world, my customers, my clients, all this stuff sucks. Like you'll be pieced out of the group. This is one where we're going to actually overcome challenges, but you come into the group and you're like, hey, this is what's going on. Who has some ideas for me to step into to be able to make something different or to change up what I'm doing so I can actually achieve my results? So this is a high touch, high level, high energy based group. Or if you're willing to lean in, you are the right person. Now, who is this not for? This is not a marketing program. We are not going to share with you how to post viral videos on social media and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. We've learned a lot about that, but that is not the important stuff that we're going to be teaching you. That's actually something that we teach inside of a different program that I teach with my mentor. It's called 6 Months to 6 Figures. If that's ever something you want, let me know, but that is more marketing. People put marketing in front of actually putting your stuff together. Marketing comes after you've made so many sales that you've had conversations with humans that now you start marketing and putting out on social media about. It doesn't come before that process. It comes after it. All right. So this is not a marketing program. It's also not made for people who are, like we said, not going to be action takers, right? People who are just going to be watching everybody and just watching the modules and not being willing to like lean in and get coaching. We want people who are going to be there, who are going to be all in to actually take action. It's also not for people who are going through our current certification program. So we have a certification. It's a life and performance coach certification. This program is not for you. There's a program that is built for you called the M&M program, which is our Master Coach Training Program. That's the program that's your next step. So if you're somebody who's already making sales and you're already doing a good job in your business and you just maybe need to implement systems and scale, you reach out to me or Teresa. We'll have a conversation because we have a different level of a success pod where we have intermediate and advanced people. But this program itself is for people who are just getting started and you're starting from ground zero. All right. So definitely reach out to us if that's something that you're interested in, that maybe you're not a beginner and you need some additional support, reach out to us. But this is not for people who are inside of our life coach certification. Or people who are inside of our Master Coach Training Program. Those things are very specific for the coaches that we help empower, and we help them in a very special way that is different than the Success Pod here. So that is what we have in store for you. Wow, that took quite a bit of time. Now, let me get to the investment real quick because I know some people are going to wonder about that. So if you go to modernleadership.us/success pod, you're going to be able to see the link there. Now, this program itself, moving forward, it's going to be $3,000 to be a part of this program. It's going to be a 3-month program. This beta round is actually 4 months, so it's an additional month of getting support. But what we've decided to do for this round is we're giving people who join, basically you get half off if you are one of the first 5 people to sign up for this Success Pod Business Starter Program. So what that's going to look like, it'll look like $500 a month for 4 months. And when you do that, you get access to all of the different videos and trainings that we're going to be doing. There's actually a couple different videos and trainings to help you best get started. And then we're going to have calls on Monday starting September 30th. It's going to be a 4-month program for the beta participants. And you're going to be getting the discount of $500 a month instead of the $1,000 a month, what it's going to be once it's all put together. If this is something that you're ready to go all in with, go to modernleadership.us/successpod. You'll read all the details. I share a lot more details than what I shared here, so you can get an idea of what it is. And once that first 5 is done, the price is going to go back up. It's probably going to go up to $750 per month instead of $500. But if you go to that link and you notice that it's different, it's because we've already had our first 5 people sign up, and we're only going to have a maximum of 10 people in this group, right? This is not one of those groups that we're going to say is like, it's going to be like 30 or 40 or 50 people. This is not one of those things. We're in the process of actually creating a lot of the resources inside of the group. So you're going to have to bear with us because it's a beta round. But we figure like giving you 50% off will make it more than worth your time, especially when we're giving you an additional month of coaching to be able to help guide you through that process. So that's what it's going to look like. Any questions? Anything that you think people might ask about the program?
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a question, but maybe something that you're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're life and performance coaches. So we know that there are certain things that pop up in our minds that kind of keep us from taking action. And when there's something new and you might be excited about it, but there's a fear that comes in. And sometimes that fear takes over the excitement, right? Because it's great to be excited, right? Because it can create momentum and you can take action. But oftentimes the other emotions kind of come in, and you start thinking, well, maybe next time, or now is not the right time. It's not a great time right now. I'm too busy. Or like, what, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to complete this, or I'm not going to be able to be successful with this. That will pop up. And it's a totally normal thought to have. We all have fear sometimes of like the unknown and something new. But I'm telling you that when you start to realize that taking steps forward on something that's very uncomfortable will boost your energy so much. If you are committed to doing this, it will boost your energy, your confidence so much that you're going to get to where you want to be much faster, because having confidence in what you're doing is super important. So, everybody has fear, or everybody has those thoughts of doubt, but when you lean into it and like move forward anyway, that is your first win of the day. It's the first win of this program.
Yeah. I when people talk about like having success, I feel like a lot of people, and just from the conversations that I've had, they think of success being something that happens on the outside first. And that is never the case. Success always happens on the inside first. And every step that you take towards that version of success, it actually manifests on the outside. And now you have even more evidence that this is possible for you too. So one of the questions that I like to ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your confidence level for you actually succeeding in business right now without our help? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence level when it comes to how confident you would feel that you would have success with our help? Now, it doesn't matter like what those numbers are. Keep those inside of your head if you want to, but I want to let you know that whatever you're thinking, whatever you believe is what you're going to manifest. So if you set a 1, 2, or 3 for success on yourself, then what you're actually going to do is you're going to manifest a 1, 2, or 3, because that's the level of belief you have. And you don't have anybody else that's going to help you with that belief right now. It's just dependent on the environment that you're in. But when you think about putting yourself into a room where other people are at a 7, 8, or 9, now you're going to have a different level, right? Because not only are you going to actually get the help from the members of the group, You're going to get the personal help from Teresa and I. So we're going to be there every step of the way, every single week. You're going to be jumping on a call. We're going to be talking about what's going on. We're going to have different lessons, have different homework, getting you to take action. And you being able to develop that confidence is going to have an exponential effect. So many times people think about like, what is this going to cost me? One of the things I always like to bring up too, because this actually helps me take action too, is how much is it going to cost me if I don't do it? If I don't take that next step? Now, here's what I want to say is I'm not saying about our program. Like if you decide this is not for you, like, and this is just not a good fit for you, maybe we're a little aggressive. Maybe we're a little bit like, we want you to be able to come in here and be willing to work, not work like you're going to give up your family and your health for it, but work because when the time comes, you need to work. You need to do hard work, right? But we also want you to know that there's a million programs out there. There's a million people out there. There's a million different things, mentors and stuff that you can lean into, right? I just want you to lean into something, because when I think about where it is that I would have been if I had leaned into it sooner, like it's frustrating to me to realize that I could have been so much further along. And honestly, I could have had so much more belief in myself if I found somebody else who believed in me, maybe in that moment, right? So whether that's us or whether it's someone else, honestly is irrelevant. I just want what's best for you. I want you to be willing to lead from the front. I want you to be willing to lean in and get uncomfortable, because if you're asking somebody to buy and pay for your program and product, you have to be willing to do the same thing at the next level before they're willing to do that for you. It's called modeling the behavior. And whether it's with us or with somebody else, honestly, like I said, I just want what's best for you, what's best for your family. And these are the things that made the biggest difference for us. So we would feel terrible if we didn't share with you how we can actually help you do the same. So guys, I know it's been 51 minutes. We actually anticipated this being a 30-minute call. This is a little bit longer. And we appreciate you for leaning in. Here's the truth. Whether you sign up and you join us inside of the Success Pod or not, we will have 1000% belief that you're going to be able to make this possible. As long as you're willing to lean in, to get uncomfortable, to find the things that get you to step out of your comfort zone, to keep taking action and figuring out what you can do differently next time, I guarantee you're going to have success. If you want to speed up that process, that's what we're here for. So thank you guys for being willing to lean in. We hope this has been helpful for you. Keep taking action. If you have any questions, you're inside of our app. You have a question about the program. You have a question about something else just in general, you know that we're here for you. Shoot us a message, comment below in this video, or reach out to us inside of the app and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. You guys keep crushing it. The world needs to hear your message. You have something inside of you that the world desperately needs. Do not let it die inside of you. Figure a way of getting it to the outside, because the world is really depending on you to show up and to change and impact their life forever. So thank you for being willing to do that. Not many people are willing to do that. They back down when that happens. But you, my friend, are not most people. You are a modern leader and you lead from the front. So keep crushing it, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.